hill. He is the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is the attractive darling of all of Raja. He can always be seen playing in the garden groves by the banks of the Yamuna River. Om Gyana Trimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Taishmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadadmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahadana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Shahadvaitam Shadvahutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vairagya Yug Bhakti Rasam Prayatnayer Abhayan Mamanu Bipsamandam Kripapudirya Paduka Duki Sanatanam Tam Prabhumashrayami. I was unwilling to drink that nectar of immortality that is known as Bhakti Ras, the taste of love for the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. I didn't want to drink this nectar because I knew it was laced with, I knew it was infused with, I knew it was endowed with a secret ingredient. That ingredient being great material renunciation. But my spiritual master Sanatana Goswami, being an ocean of mercy who is constitutionally unable to look upon the sufferings of others, he forced me, he made me, he induced me to drink it. Therefore, what else can I do? I simply have to offer him my obeisances as my master. Adanana Sri Nandam Teri Idam Yatshe Puna Punaha Srimad Rupa Padambo Jam Dulisham Janma Janmani, clasping that straw between my teeth, falling on the ground, crying and begging over and over again. The only prayer that is left in my heart is this, that lifetime after lifetime I may simply serve the foot dust of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. Sadhanayar Jivane Yasya Drishto Bhavodaya Kramaha Raghunatham Aham Bande Dasa Goswaminam Prabhu. I offer my homage unto my master Srila Raghunath Das Goswami by carefully studying his life and his daily practices of the regulative principles of devotional service. One can quickly come to understand the exact scientific sequential process by which one will attain to prayojana, the topmost states of love of Godhead. Vanchakapa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is my Bhagavad-Gītā. And this is the official Bhagavad-Gītā right here. So I wonder why mine looks like this. Okay.
Made in India.
What?
Made in India.
Maybe because it's been thumbed through so much. Okay, we're on chapter 2. We're reading from the Bhagavad-Gītā, translations and purports by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We're on chapter 2, verses 47 and 48. I prepared 48, and I was told 2 seconds ago I'd have to read 47 too. But
You can just read that one. He read the verse, but he didn't have the class on it yesterday. That's
Okay.
why I thought at least we
You
should.
didn't do the purport at the end.
We went through the purport, but
At the end.
not a heck of a lot. I mean, we just read it.
Okay, so we'll read it. We'll read our way through
It's
it.
kind of an important verse.
Yeah, both of these verses are kind of interesting and important, so we'll take a few seconds to look at them. Do we do responsive chanting here?
You can just, we already did that response.
Okay, so we'll read responsively verse number 48. First I'll read verse 47.
Yeah.
Verse 47. Kamanya va dikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bur ma te sango swakarmani. Translation: you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Okay. Purport. There are 3 considerations here. Prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duty, these will be described later on in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā. I'll try to get to that and speak a little bit on that today. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one acquired modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the results of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, there can be fitted into 3 subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work, performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunction, without desire for results, is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the results. Such disinterested, obligatory duties doubtlessly leads one onto the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is a cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Okay, repeat after me. Yogastha kura karmani. Yogastha kuru karmani. Sangam chaktva dhananjaya. Sidya sidyo samo bhutava. Sidya sidyo samo bhutava. Samatvam yoga uchite. Yogastha kuru karmani. Sangam chaktva dhananjaya. Sidya sidyo samo bhutva. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani Sangam Chaktva Dhananjaya Sidya Sidyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchite. Please chant, anyone? Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Chaktva Dhananjaya Sidya Sidya Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchite. Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Chaktva Dhananjaya Sidya Sidya Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchite. Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Chaktva Dhananjaya Sidya Sidya Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchite. Any ladies? Yogastha Kuru Karmani
Sangam Chaktva Dhananjaya Sidya Sidya Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchite.
Okay, word for word. Yogastha, equipoised. Kuru, perform. Karmani, your duties. Sangam, attachment. Chaktva, giving up. Dhananjaya, O Arjuna. Siddhas asidhyo, in success and failure. Samaha, equipoised. Bhutva, becoming. Sanmatvam, equanimity. Yoga, yoga. Uchite, is called. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Repeat after me. Not the cough. Perform your duty equiposed. O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Purport. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is really yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One is to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashram Dharma. indirectly, Arjuna was to advise to act as Krishna told him. So in this part of the Bhagavad-Gītā, we're in the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gītā basically outline what's known as the yoga ladder. And it's different types of yoga, starting from a very rudimentary yoga into higher and higher and higher and higher types of yoga. Ultimately, the last verse of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā, Yoginam api sarvesham ma tatanantaratmana Shradavan Shradavevo Yoginam api sarvesham ma tatanantaratmana Shradavan bhajate yomam same yuktaptamo mataha. And of all yogis, Krishna said, he who abides in me, who always thinks of me within himself, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is the highest of all. And who engages himself in devotional service, he is the highest of all. So in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā here, we're having the contents of the Gita summarized. So in very terse statements, basically Krishna is outlining very quickly the different rungs of the yoga ladder. Okay? So, for example, the next 3 verses, he'll go into a whole different rung of the yoga ladder. The next 3 verses deal with bhakti yoga, basically. So, and right here he's talking about gyan, karma, gyan yoga, karma mixed with gyan. Okay? And this type of yoga is more fully explained completely in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā. So there's a gradual progression of yogas that are being introduced to Arjuna, one after another, after another, after another. The first yoga is known as Karma Kandya Yoga. And that yoga is mentioned very quickly by Lord Krishna, basically because Arjuna said to Krishna at the very beginning of the Bhagavad-Gītā, I can see no good that's going to come from this fight. And Krishna answers him on what you would call a gross material platform, saying, you say there's no good that can come from this fight, but I can immediately think of 2 goods that will come from this fight. The first good is you'll be killed on the battlefield. That's the first good you will lose the battle and you'll be killed on the battlefield. So that's the first good that will come from this fight. And what will happen for a Kshatriya who's fighting an enemy and doesn't flee from the battlefield, who fights a valiant fight on the battlefield? We even have this idea, even now, when someone dies in the battlefield, it's considered glorious. He died for his country, you know. So we even have this idea now. And that idea definitely existed back in the Vedic times, when people were completely unaware that they were completely aware that they were not their body. So to fight on a battlefield without turning your back on the enemy is considered glorious death. According to Bhishma Dev in his talks with Yudhisthira, the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharata, there's 4 glorious deaths. One is the death we just discussed, dying on the battlefield without fighting, moving, without running from the enemy. Second glorious death is drowning in sacred river. That's a glorious death, somehow or other, drowning in sacred river. Third glorious death is fasting to death. Is considered glorious. It's always considered an auspicious death if you fast to death. Therefore, when Prabhupada's father, if you read was at the very end of his life, he stopped eating. That's how they used to take care of it in those days. It's not that you went into a hospital and you were given 10 million machines to keep you alive, breathing for you, pumping in and out. No. When you saw the handwriting on the wall. At least in the olden days, people stopped eating. And that solved the problem within 40 to 60 days. Or usually by that time they were pretty thin, so within a little short period of time. So fasting to death, and then entering into fire. Those are the 4 auspicious deaths. Entering fire, I probably shouldn't say that, but it indicates the sati rite. So these are the 4 auspicious deaths. They're all considered extremely auspicious. So, so the Karmakandya yoga is based on this idea, auspiciousness in this material world. You know. So therefore, Krishna doesn't spend a lot of time with it, and he dismisses it pretty quickly. He mentions it, and then poo-poos it, especially in a couple of verses right before these verses that we're now reading. And then he says that people of small intelligence, they're attached to such things. Auspicious rebirth on heavenly planets and for a greater material enjoyment. Prayena Vedam Tamidam Na Mahajanoyam Devya Vimohitamatir Patamayayalam Jadi Trayam Jadi Kritamatir Madhu Pushpitayam Vaitanaiki Mahati Karmani Yujamanaha. Here is the Mahajans are mentioned, but it's not the 12 Mahajans. It's the other Mahajans. Prayena Veda, they almost never ever know. Prayena Veda, Prayena means they most never know. Prayena Vedam Tam Igam Na Mahajan. These other Mahajans, they never know. So it's an interesting verse. It appears in the 6th chapter of the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the conversation between Yamaraj and the Yamadutas. And it says, because they are greatly bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, great sages like Yajnavalkya and Jamani and other compilers of man-made religious scripture, they cannot understand or appreciate the transcendental religious system of the 12 Mahajans. They cannot understand or appreciate the great value of devotional service, nor can they appreciate the great value of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Instead, such persons, such religionists, they are extremely busy or extremely addicted to ritualistic ceremonies that are mentioned in the 3 Vedas, namely the Yajur Veda, the Samaveda, and the Rig Veda. And because they are addicted to these religious ceremonies, their intelligence has become dull. Thus they are extremely busy. They are extremely busy going here and there. They're collecting the ingredients for sacrificial performances that yield at the best only temporary elevation to the higher planetary systems for greater material enjoyment. Such so-called Mahajans, they are never attracted to the Sankirtan movement of the chanting of the Lord's holy name. Instead, they are only interested in Artha, Dhamma, Karma, and Moksha. So this is the yoga system that Krishna that Krishna very quickly poo-poos and lets go. It is a type of yoga system. It's recommended because in that yoga system you'll be among The reason why it's recommended is you'll be among brahmanas, you'll be around people who are involved in Vedic activities, and by being around such people you may happen to run into a pure devotee, because pure devotees, they are found in these circles. So that's why these sacrifices are valuable, and people do them and attend them. So then the next type of yoga, as Krishna is recommending, and this is the recommendations we're reading now, is karma yoga touched with bhakti, and it's touched both with gyan and bhakti. And that's why what we're reading right now. For example, you'll see in this verse, I'm sorry, I'm not going to speak too much on verse 47, but you see the word yogastha, which means equipoised. It's interesting, yoga means union with God, and sta means place, or stan, like Janmastan, the place where Krishna was born, Janmastan. Rajasthan, the place of the king. Okay, so stan. So here we have yogastan, that place inside you, okay, where you meet the Supreme Lord. Okay, so yogastan, equipoised. It's translated as. Now look at here. There's a second word here, which means he again says sama. Siddha, asiddho, samo, bhutava. Samo means equipoised. He repeats it again. That when bad things, what happens when bad things happen to good people? They freak out, right? Why me? But what happens when a bad thing happens to a devotee who is the best of all person? He goes, I deserve it. It's my karma. It's, he's supposed to. At least he's supposed to. It may take him a while, or her a while, to come around to that, but anyway, at least he's supposed to. It's my karma, I deserved it somehow or other, it's my fate. So, samo, completely equipoised.
No, I deserve much more, but luckily I only got...
Okay, we can go there too. So, samo means equipoised in success or failure. And then you have the word sammatvam, which means equanimity, which means equal. And so when you're equal, and while performing your religious duty, this is what's being suggested here by Krishna to Arjuna, to be equal while performing his religious duty. Because remember, at the very beginning of the Bhagavad-Gītā, there is one thing that that Arjuna wasn't. He wasn't equal, he wasn't peaceful, he wasn't equipoised at the very beginning of the Bhagavad-Gītā. Remember that? He had lost it. He had a nervous, emotional breakdown in the middle of the battlefield. And we have to remember that that the kind of culture that Arjuna comes from, okay, first of all, that emotional nervous breakdowns are very lauded in our culture. We consider that, oh wow, he's really putting his heart on his sleeve, he's letting it all out, oh, that's so wonderful, he's getting down to the real thing, and he's crying. So or she's crying, or she's having a breakdown. Yes, now they're getting to the root of the problem. This is the way the modern world looks at it. I remember once, many years ago, watching a very, very nice movie called Sense and Sensibility. It was based on a Jane Austen novel. And it was based on I guess such people used to exist in England at the turn of the 16th century, 17th century, because they no longer exist there. But anyway, there was at least this idea that it was a novel written about a very refined, high-class society where people actually were genteel and they actually had manners, And in this particular movie, the heroine It's called Sense and Sensibility. The heroine was extremely sensible lady, and the particular social milieu that she found herself in, things like love affairs that were going on between the different participants in the movies and stuff like that were carried on in a very refined way. It wasn't, why don't we do it in the road? like a famous, what's his name, Beatle sang, our John Lennon saying, it wasn't that kind of thing like it goes on now, but it was very refined, where just a look or a word of kindness, became so intensely meaningful, So it was a kind of interesting movie in this way. And the heroine in that particular movie, I won't go into a whole movie review here, I'm sorry, but the heroine in that particular, the heroine in that particular movie, she was the one who was the most controlled, and everybody thought that she was the one who was the most closed. But at the very final end of the movie, you find that she was the one who was experiencing the deepest emotions. So for a person like Arjuna, in Arjuna's milieu, in a highly refined Vedic society, to break down on a battlefield and start to cry is a real, how do you say? A real, and Krishna, shortcoming, we'll take that. Kapanya dosho pahata svabhavaha prichtrami tvam dharma samuda chetaha yachchayan shanishtitam bruhitame shishasteham sadimam tvam papanam.
Inconsistency.
What?
Inconsistency.
Inconsistency with the bhav of the time. So he says, Karpanya dosho. Karpanya means miserly and dosha means weaknesses. To display your weaknesses like that. It's a big faux pas. So he did that. And so here in this particular verse, Krishna is talking just the opposite. He's talking about control of the senses by engaging in your prescribed religious duties and keeping your emotions in check, which is a bad word these days in modern society. But in a culture Vedic society, it was considered a highly valued thing to keep your emotions in check and not to wear your heart on your sleeve, but to in the most genteel way let everybody know how you felt, but not to just spill out all over everybody, you know what I'm saying? And then cause everyone around you distress. So therefore Krishna is calling for Arjuna in this to give up the emotion here and become equipoised. This is a continuous call by Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gītā. You'll see it over and over again. He begins at the very beginning, Matrastar sparshas tu kunteya siktosna sukadukada agama payano nityastam tatikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time are like the appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Skayana Bharta, and you have to learn to tolerate them without breaking down in a nervous fit on the battlefield, please. Okay? Nahi ya vyath Yami na vyat ayanti te purusham purusharva savam sama dukkha sukham diraso mitadvaya kopate. O best of the Kuru dynasty, just to remind you of your high cultured parentage, O best of the Kuru dynasty, O best among men. just to remind you of your high cultured period. A person who is steady or equal in both success and failure is certainly eligible for liberation. And then later on in the second canto, second chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā, I love these two verses I really like a lot. He says, Dukeshvanud vignaspriyaha sukkeshu vigataspriyaha vittaragabhaya kroda stiradir munir uchite. One who is undisturbed in mind. Okay? No breaking down is allowed. We think it's a great thing when people break down, right? But no breaking down is allowed. Okay? You have to remain steady and equipoised and balanced. These are no breaking down, no mental disease is allowed in Krishna consciousness. Okay? It's equanimity. The doshas have to be balanced. No, not too much eating, not too little eating, not sleeping too much, not sleeping too little. Everything has to be balanced. Of course, I fail in one. We're all allowed some failure. Please, I hope we're allowed some failure. So, Dukeshvanu vigna spriyaha. Dukeshvanu vigna manaha sukkeshu vigta. One who is undisturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries. Nor, on the other direction, is he particularly elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger. He is called a sage of steady mind. Sarvatra navishne hastatta prapyu sabam yusvam navinandanti na dvesti tasya prajna pratishtita. I love this one. One who is unaffected. Listen to this one, you want to get your mind blown. One who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain in this material world. Try that one. Try to put that boot on. Try to put those boots on. One who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain in this material world, neither praising one nor despising the other. He is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So this is we can go on if you want to. They're really nice verses. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā, Yadrichcha labda sandushto dvandva vito vimatsaraha sama siddha asiddhavcha krivapi nani bhajate. He who is satisfied with gain that comes of its own accord. And if you're going to be satisfied with gain that comes of its own accord, you need two more qualities. Okay? If you're going to be satisfied with gain that comes of its own accord, you need two other qualities. And those two other qualities is that you have to be free from duality. You can't freak out every time the weather changes. And you can't freak out every time you get praised or blamed, or you can't freak out when food doesn't come your way or food does come your way. And you can't freak out when money comes your way and money doesn't come your way. You got to stay steady. So you got to be free from duality, and you cannot envy. Cannot envy. Because if you're going to do yadrichja means somehow or other. It comes to you somehow or other. There's no endeavor on your part. Just somehow or other, some money flows to you. Or somehow or other, some food flows to you. Or somehow or other, some clothing comes to you. So yadrichja lava. Lava means to get. Sandushto means satisfied within yourself. I got a place to lay down. It's in the corner over there, but that's good enough. I don't need more. The Python man. The Python man. Just think. We know who the world's most perfect person is? The Python man. If you ever want to see, get your mind blown, read that chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, he is the world's most perfect person. A guy who lays down on the road and doesn't make any endeavor for nothing. And just accepts whatever comes. And he's in Brahman realization while he does it. Is that our definition of the world's most... No, Steve Jobs, he's the world's most perfect person. You know, Bill Gates is the world's most perfect person. So, Sama Siddha Siddha Chow. So he was steady, he's steady in both success and failure. He is never entangled, although performing actions. What time do I have to stop?
6:15.
Okay, 6:15. If as soon as people start getting really tired, raise your hand, and then I'll shut up. Okay? I don't like to drag it out for people, drag them to things that too much. So Sama Siddha Siddha Cha. Then there's a really nice one in the fifth chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā. Na prashrishyat priyam prapya. Priyam means anything that's very dear, and prapya means to obtain. And prashrishyat, na prashrishyat. One does not go head over heels. Huh? She loves me! She loves me not. He loves me! And he's got a lot of money too. He lost his money. So one does not go head over heels. Na prashriyat. Priyam prapya, when one gets something that's very dear. No dvijat. No dvijat means he doesn't become freaked out or disturbed. No dvijat. Prapya cha priyam. When he gets something that he doesn't really want, something falls in his lap that he does wish he didn't, never came his way. So prashrijat, na prashrijat priyam priyam prapya no dvijat prapya cha priyam. So one who is one who neither rejoices upon obtaining something, achieving something which is very, very dear, nor does he lament upon obtaining something he doesn't want. So this is what's called the equanimous. I can't say the word. Somebody help me, please. Equanimity. Thank you very much, Mataji. This is what's called equanimity. This balance. Now, this balance has got to be maintained while one performs one's religious duty. When one maintains that balance and performs one's religious duty, giving up the result to Krishna, that's called karma yoga. Okay. And karma yoga is described more thoroughly in the third chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā, in karma mixed with gyan. Because it's karma here is mixed with gyan because it's talking about shanti. Shanti means gyan. When one becomes, as long as one's on the level of karma, there's never going to be any shanti. Okay, but when one comes to gyan, there's some shanti. And this gyan starts when one begins to give up the fruits of his result to Lord Krishna, or to the Hare Krishna movement, or to the Guru. When one works hard and gives the fruit of the result to the temple, or to the books distributors, or to the cow program, when one works hard and gives up the fruit of his work, or even if he doesn't have any money, he gives his voice to Krishna consciousness. He just sings for Krishna. So many ways you can give to Krishna. Yuktaha, this is the way that peace is obtained. Yuktaha palam chakva sangam. Yuktaha simply means to engage in devotional service. Yuktaha palam Sangam Chaktava, giving up the fruits, attachment to the fruits of one's labor. Engaging in devotional service and giving up the attachment to the fruits of one's labors. Shantim apnoti naishtikim. Not just shantim, not just shantim, but naishtikim shantim. We have the naishtika brahmachari, right? The unadulterated brahmachari. Never had a relationship with a woman, never had sex with a woman, never touched a woman. So that's a special kind of brahmachari. That's called a naishtikam. He's pure brahmachari. So this is shantim. He gets pure. Yuktaha karma phalam shaktam. Shantim apnoti naishtikam. Ayuktaha, he does one who doesn't engage in devotional. So kama karena, and he's a very greedy man. He wants to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Ayuktaha kama karena. Fale shekto nibajyate, he becomes incredibly entangled in the laws of karma. So the steadily devoted soul, he attains unadulterated peace, shanti, because he offers the results of all activities unto me. But he who is not in union with the divine, who's performing no yoga, ayogataha, he who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the results of his activities, he wants to just enjoy whatever he can grab. Right? He who is not in union, he's not performing any yoga, he just wants to enjoy the world as he can grab it. He who's not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the results of his activity, he becomes entangled in karma. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkam. Dukkam means sadness. Sanyasatu mahabaho dukkam aptum ayogataha. Aptum means you're inflicted with sadness. Even if you renounce. Sannyasas too. If you renounce, that's good, right? So you renounce. Sannyasas too mahabalo. But still, dukkam aptum, you'll be inflicted with sadness ayogataha if you do no yoga. So renunciation is not just good enough. You go in the cave, and you'll be inflicted with sadness. Okay, Om is maybe that'll keep you a little bit above the sadness if you're really serious. But if you go in the cave and you're just going to live there and you're going to be the yogi and you're not going to engage your mind and senses and body and words and heart and soul in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you're going to be afflicted with sadness. But yoga yukta Munir Brahma. Munir means a person with a brain. Yoga yukta, if he engages himself in devotional service, in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Munir Brahma achirena digachyati. He quickly gets achirena digachyati. He gets it very, very quickly. So that's the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā. It's a really nice verse. I just forget the translation right now. Oh yeah, merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person who engages himself in the devotional service to the Supreme Lord, he can achieve the Supreme without delay. You just got to know what you're doing, and then you just got to apply yourself, and very quickly you can achieve the Supreme without delay. And therefore, this is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, basically, I want you to fight, and I am the Supreme. So do it. It's easy. Oh, it's easy for Arjuna. But where's Krishna? We can't see Krishna. He's not telling us to fight. Huh? It's really hard for us. I mean, if Krishna were to come down and tell me to fight, then it'd be really easy. But he's not that. Where is he? I can't see him. Who can see him? Nobody sees him. Huh? Is that our dilemma? What do you think? No, because we have a direct order from Krishna coming down through the chain of disciple succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale niha mahata yogo nasta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciple succession, and the saintly kings, they understood it in this way, but in course of time the succession was broken, and so the science as it appears to be lost. The succession is not broken right now because we go back right back to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dhamantu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Really, religious principle is directly enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incarnation, devotional incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what has he ordered us to do? Has he ordered us to fight a battle and kill our relatives? Is that our order? Or do we have a different order? And what is our order? So our order is chant 16 rounds a day, coming down through Srila Prabhupada being particularly merciful, representative of a particularly merciful incarnation of the Lord, has made it particularly merciful for us poor cretins in the middle of this Kali Yuga. And what he has said is 16 rounds a day and 4 regular principles. And we can't even do that. Prabhupada once said, I've made it so simple for you, 16 rounds a day, 4 regular principles. You can't even do that. So we're not being asked by God to fight. We're being asked by God to do a different type of karma yoga for him. Not the karma yoga but the principle is the same. It's just that the dressing on the window looks different. That's all. But the principle is the same. We have to fight to chant our rounds and follow the 4 regular principles. And we have to fight to push on the Sankirtan movement of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't have to kill our mother and father, our brother or sister, our uncle and our cousin. Thank God it would get us arrested in this time and day and age. Arjuna had to do that. But he had to fight a war on behalf of Krishna. We have to fight a war on behalf of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The war is against the ever-spreading tentacles of the age of Kali Yuga. We have to fight and push back the age of Kali Yuga by the chanting method of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And what we have to do is we have to usher in the era of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this earth planet. Good luck to you all. Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatara Nama Hoite Hoyasava Jagat Nishtara Nama Vinu Kali Kale Nahi Ara Dharma. Nahi means that there's no other. And Ara, a very short word, A-R-A, Ara means no alternative. There's no other religious practice, nor is there any alternative. Sara mantra sarva nama e shastra mama. In the age of Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna has descended in the form of his holy name. Through the chanting of the holy name, the entire universe can be delivered from material bondage, believe it or not. I know I was once not chanting Hare Krishna many years ago, and I know it's taken a long time, and I know I'm still quite faulty in so many ways, but not as faulty as I was back then. So I'm living proof that if you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you can make steady and sound advancement over a long period of time if you just surrender to that sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, the entire world can be delivered from material bondage. In this age of Kali Yuga, there is no other religious principle than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, nor is there any alternative religious principle to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord is the essence of all mantras, hymns, and shlokas, and the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the final purport of all the revealed scripture. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I could say so much more, but we'll end here because it's time. And so that is our duty. Our duty, I just want to end by people say, oh, well, Krishna was in front of, you hear it so often, Krishna was in front of Arjuna. Arjuna had it easy. No, well, Arjuna had it tough. Even because Krishna was in front. You ever want to join Krishna pastimes? Of course, we want to join Krishna's pastimes because we're after the rasa, we're not after the comfort. But the thing is, if you want to ever join Krishna's pastimes, just think of what it means to be a gopi, and think of what it means to be Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra, and you can see it's not. Or Yudhisthira in exile, or Draupadi, why she was being dragged in front of the vicious assembly. And you want to talk about refined people. I started talking about refined people. What about Draupadi? How incredibly refined a lady she was. And to be put in that position. So we say we want to be in Krishna's pastimes. Okay, we want to be in Krishna's pastimes, but you should think deeply what that means. Because it doesn't mean la 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 la. Holo bola lo lo lo. Okay? It means intense emotions. But those emotions are nectar because they're in relationship with Krishna. So we say that Arjuna had it easy. Okay, he didn't have it easy, but at least God was there telling him what to do. But God is here telling us what to do through the parampara system. And it's no different. And if we do it, we will be as surrendered to God as Krishna is to God on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We have the same opportunity. It's equal opportunity. If we do it. Samoham savabhuteshu name dveshtosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam ya bhaktya mayi testeshu chapyaham. I envy no one. I am partial. I envy no one. I'm partial to no one. I'm equal to all. It's an equal opportunity universe. We all have equal opportunity. It doesn't matter who we are, what our gender is, what our race is, where we're from, to approach Krishna. It's an equal opportunity universe. But whoever does that, whoever renders devotional service unto me, he is in me, he's a friend, so I'll be a friend to him. Krishna does not have the defect of impartiality. Krishna does not have the defect of impartiality. Krishna does not have the defect of impersonality. Okay. Any question? Anyone want to say anything? Something? Okay. A question.
Can we use the microphone?
Question from Alex.
What's the question? I could just begin.
Wait. There's a large radio audience who needs to hear your question.
Could you share that verse about the holy name being the only thing in existence, ultimately, and everything else?
That's from, the only thing in existence. I think you're referring the verse I said to you one time. Okay. It's from a very beautiful little prayer, and I memorized this prayer. You know why I memorized this prayer? Because the prayer is written by a very famous Vaishnava author. Okay, listen to the name of this Vaishnava author. Anonymous.
Who?
Anonymous. Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Yeah. So every once in a while you'll be going through different prayer books and verse books, and you'll see, a prayer by an unknown anonymous Vaishnava author, a prayer by an unknown author. And when I see those prayers, I go, wow. Because it doesn't have to be that it's the important people. You understand it? Oh, this is Rupa Goswami. Okay, I better memorize this one because it's Rupa Goswami. Okay, not that we're saying Rupa Goswami's obeisance is Rupa Goswami. We have a tendency. But when it says anonymous, I go, just some unknown Vaishnava, he wrote this prayer. And now it's famous that it's in our prayer book. So I memorized the prayer just because it's written by nobody in particular who was a nobody. So the prayer goes, the verse you're talking about is Am Brahma Stamba Paryantam Mayam Sarvat Jagat Mayam Jagat Satyam Satyam Puna Satyam Harinam Eva Kevalam. Do you know that song? Everybody know that song? It's called Harinam. It's called Namastika. It's 8 beautiful verses written in praise of the holy name by an anonymous author. It's so beautiful. Maduram Madure Byopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavane Byopi Harinam Eva Kevalam. Very short and very sweet. Abrahma Stamba Paryantam Sarvam Mayam Mayam Jagat Satyam Satyam Puna